Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Just want to go over some of my favorite plays for tonight's NBA slate for tonight on Draftkings. It's a pretty good slate, so I am looking forward to it. Anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Really helps me out, really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPinell16. And if you're interested in the spreadsheet I build every single night for the NBA season, which is what I'm showing you right now, links below in the description below for my Patreon, my Slack chat, and access to all that good stuff. This is what I use every single day. So if you like the videos, this is what I use, and then you can get access just to whatever I do throughout the day, because I obviously make updates throughout the day. Because for the NBA season, you guys know it gets hectic around lock, so I update things throughout the day. A lot of these picks can change because just one piece of news breaks an entire slate. So got to be able to adapt. But this pretty much has everything you need on here. It's just pretty much a cheat sheet for it's supposed to make your building lineups easier. It's got everything you need in one spot. So, player info, days of rest, projected minutes, salaries, the matchups, what time the game's being played, Vegas totals, the pace that they play at, all the statistics you need on here, the Draftkings stats per game, which are pretty much just the basic statistics, and I do projections, and then their value on the side, and, that's where you get, who to plug in, where, whatever. So I do all that stuff on there, and then I also have my defense versus position chart, which updates automatically throughout whenever it changes. So you can get see what teams are good at what position or guarding what position. You can see what teams are bad at whatever. So versus Houston, obviously you'd want to attack shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, because they absolutely suck. Then on the side, I got the rankings, what they are for that. So pretty much it's supposed to make your life easier, which hopefully it does. And then I got my cheat sheet that I make every single day. So anyway, that's enough of that plugging. Let's get into today's slate. So let me just make sure everything pops up here when I pop a guy's name up. Alright, good thing we checked. Alright, so the first guy I want to talk about on this slate is not LeBron, but I do want to talk about LeBron soon, but it's Joel Embiid at 9,400. I think he's a fantastic play today. So he was actually pretty disappointing as my top spin up versus Phoenix a couple nights ago when he only scored about 40 fantasy points. But I think he can bounce back in a big way tonight versus Cleveland, who's pretty below average when it comes to opposing centers. And really just everybody in general. They're 20th in total defense just overall, and they're 16th versus big men. And some big guys have had some successful games versus them so far, but Embiid's going to be their toughest test yet. The only problem with him is that his minutes are a bit of a problem, as they're really never up with the guys like, Bron, Harden, Anthony Davis, whatever. But the two times he's seen over 30 minutes this year, he's scored 66 and 56 fantasy points, and that's because he's very efficient while on the court. He's got a 33% usage rate and an elite 1.65 points per minute. So those are incredible numbers. Well, the minutes are a slight issue here, but the great thing here tonight is that Al Horford is out, which I probably should have mentioned a little bit earlier because this is very important. So I expect him to see his minutes in the mid-30s, give or take, and given a competitive game, he should have a pretty big game here. He should be able to take advantage of this and take on more of the load with Horford being out. That's kind of why it's been he hasn't really had to see too many big minutes because Horford's been doing a fine job and he's getting over 30 minutes per game. So, this opens up a lot, and he should have no problem paying off his price tag of 9,400 because it's not like he's 11,000 and we absolutely had to get 70, 60 points out of the guy like James Harden did like last night. 9,400, if he can get us 50 points, I'm feeling pretty good about that, but I think he can get over 60 fantasy points in this matchup, and, with Horford being out, it does open up a lot of stuff. So, Joel Embiid, he makes some sense for me tonight, and I do expect him to be pretty popular. LeBron at 10,500, I think he's another good option. Every night he's a good option, but he's the most expensive guy on the slate. I can see why. Him or Davis probably should be the most expensive guys on the slate. He's fresh off a triple-double versus the Raptors, which is his 4th of the year. He's actually even had a stretch of 3 straight triple-doubles at one point, and that's what we get with LeBron on a nightly basis. He can do it all. He gets the rebounds, he gets the assists. We know he's an elite passer, and then he scores, obviously great pretty much every single night as well, about 25 points per game. And they're playing a Phoenix team. They're top 10 in pace, so that's a slight boost for them because the Lakers typically play pretty slow. So it's always nice to be in a pace-up spot. He's seeing big minutes, over 35 minutes per game. He's got a 30% usage rate, and he's averaging over 1.5 points per minute on the year. So yeah, he's been pretty good, especially with his 25 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebound average stat line. Pretty good. And Phoenix has been tough on defense this year, I will say that, but it's a tough test to stop LeBron, so it really doesn't bother me whoever his matchup is. He's an elite option tonight. We've seen the upside he's had this year, 57. We've seen the downside, though, 39, but then 69, 62, 92, that's insane, 37, 47, 59. So, you're more than likely going to get a game out of LeBron. I just hate the price tag, but he does it all. It's a pace-up spot, so I think LeBron makes a lot of sense tonight. Then his teammate Anthony Davis at 10,000. He's another good option, and he's actually my highest projected player at the moment, so we'll see if that changes throughout the day. But this is a good spot versus Phoenix. They've been a good defensive team, but they've struggled versus one spot this year, and that's against big men. And Anthony Davis is a big guy. And they're 10th versus point guards, 5th versus shooting guards, 15th versus small forwards, 4th versus power forwards, and 23rd versus centers. I know he's technically a power forward, but he's going to be the most dominant big guy on the court for the Lakers here, and he should be able to do just that, dominate. Now, there's an issue here with the shoulder, but he states that he will play through it and he'll worry about it after the game. I don't know, but I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like a recipe for a Fantasy Labs NBA tweet that Anthony Davis is heading into the locker room, and then we're going to get all the shoving money into the fire gifts, but that's what Anthony Davis is, so just know there's risks here, but just assuming he plays his normal minutes, he should have a pretty big game here. Like I said, pace up spot, good matchup, and he has the highest usage rate on the team, actually above LeBron, which sounds a little crazy, but it's true. And he's getting 35 minutes per game, roughly 1.5 points per minute. If you can stomach the risk that Anthony Davis poses every single night, then I think he's an excellent play. Just prepare yourself mentally for the going to the locker room tweet. I got to point that out. Then next guy I want to talk about is Rudy Gobert at 7,500. Now, he's not my favorite play, but I think he's an interesting pivot off of guys like Davis and Embiid versus Brooklyn here. Last night, in a good matchup versus Golden State, he got 51.5 points with a 20% usage rate, which is 5% above his usual usage rate. And he gets another great matchup tonight versus the Nets, who we routinely target centers against, so let's go right back to it. Nets are 29th versus centers this year, giving up over 60 points per game to them. He's getting 35 minutes per night, and he's been around a point per minute, but I'd expect him to be over a point per minute tonight in this matchup. So I think he's a decent pivot off of the big guys tonight, but I'd much rather spend up for them, because I think it's pretty easy to do a stars and scrubs lineup tonight, but I can't expect Gobert to have too much ownership, and I think he's a fine play. He should be able to get you over 40 fantasy points, and we've seen him. He's got 50-point upside. We saw it last night, and he should be able to rack up the rebounds here. Now, he's been hit or miss. That's why I think he's a GPP play only, but and just know I'm going to go to my way to probably fit in guys like Embiid. I'm going to play Embiid tonight. I'll tell you that right now, but probably going to start in scrubs, so I don't really think I'm going to live in the 7,500 range too much, but he's an interesting play if you're building multiple lineups. Maybe you could throw him on a couple. And then at this point, I think we can go to some value guys. Or actually, no, let's go with Richaun Holmes at 5,400 actually. So I was gonna talk about him last, but might as well just go down in order here. So Richaun Holmes at 5,400. I think he's a pretty good play tonight. I think he's a safe cash game option tonight versus Portland. He's seeing 25 minutes per game, and he's been right around a point per minute guy so far this year. He should see right around 30 minutes tonight. And the thing I like the most here is this matchup versus Portland. They suck versus centers. And honestly, they've not been a very good defensive team at all this year. I know Whiteside can be perceived as a good defender because everyone thinks of the blocks. That's really it. He just gets blocks. He can get rebounds too, but he's not a great defender. And plus the guys off the bench as well aren't going to pose too much of a threat. On the year, they're 26th versus centers, and you should be able to exploit this matchup here. And obviously there's more numbers to go around with De'Aaron Fox being out, so there's just more usage and all that good stuff to go around. So Richaun Holmes, I think he's a pretty fine play. He's actually grading out as a pretty nice value as of right now. So we'll be looking to target him. The top value play on the slate tonight, it's going to be Cory Joseph, though, at 3,700. Just expect him to be very high owned. He's the guy you're going to plug into cash games no matter what. He's the most obvious value play of the night. He's going to be extremely popular. De'Aaron Fox sprained his ankle in practice, and he's expected to miss anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. So that's going to propel Joseph into an expanded role, and he should see 30 to 32 minutes tonight. And while now he's not going to set the world on fire or anything, I wouldn't mind if he does. I just don't expect him to. He's been around, he should be able to pick up the peripheral stats and hopefully get around 10 real-life points, maybe more. He's been around 0.77 points per minute on the year, so if he's given around 30 minutes, which he should get us over 25 fantasy points, and I would take that because he's going to have an expanded role with De'Aaron Fox being out, so I expect him to be above his average point per minute. Last game versus Atlanta, 29 minutes, 24 points, not too bad, so don't mind Cory Joseph, and he's going to be popular, so just plug and play him as of right now. Let's talk about Coby White first, and then I'll save the gross one for last. But Coby White at 4,100, he's interesting tonight. He's grading out as a pretty strong value play for me as well. He's seeing over 20 minutes per game, and he should see in the mid to upper 20s tonight versus a New York squad who isn't the best defensively versus opposing guards. Now, White's been hit or miss this year, and I mean big miss this year. Start the year, he was on fire. He had, 31, 37. Then he's trailing off to 19, 12, 15, 9, 8, 31, that's good. 17, 16. So he's been hit or miss. You don't know what you're going to get. But I don't mind him here. He's taking plenty of shots. It's just a matter of them actually falling, which they either fall or they don't. But he's a rookie, so you'll see these kind of things from them here and there. I like the minutes and I like the shots he's taking, so I think he's a fine play versus New York at 4,100 tonight. grading out as a pretty strong play. Then the grossest play of the night. It's hard to stomach, but I think Kyle O'Quinn at 3K, he's the bare minimum. I think he's in play. I can't even find him, so we're probably going to have to search for his name soon if I don't find him in a second. Okay, we'll just search for him. No, he's bare minimum 3K versus Cleveland. Like I said, it's not the best defense in the world. And just hear me out. It's never fun to roster him. But Al Horford is out, and he's been getting over 30 minutes per game. Horford, not O'Quinn, which is one of the reasons I like Embiid, and the same can be said for O'Quinn here. So in the year, he's averaging a little over 9 minutes per game, but I expect him to push for, say, 15 to 17 minutes tonight in that range. And if he's playing well, maybe he'll get even more, maybe 20, which it might be pushing it. But, I think he should get at least 15 tonight, and that doesn't sound like a lot. But he's also at 1.1 points per fantasy point per minute this year. I think he's a pretty solid value option at the stone minimum today, honestly. I think he can get close to 20 fantasy points here, and he's free, so I'll take it. He's going to let us fit in guys like Embiid, Davis, and LeBron. Makes for a good stars and scrubs approach tonight. So Kyle O'Quinn, I think he makes some sense, and he's grading out as a pretty good value, so don't mind him. I think that's going to be it for all the picks today. I don't know. I hope you guys survived last night's slate. Last night's slate was an absolute dumpster fire. Well, I was looking fine, and then Brandon Ingram got ruled out at, 7:31, I think, and obviously all the Celtics players that you could have pivoted to, they locked just right then. So then it was a mess. And then we were trying to pivot off of Brandon Ingram. Then Draftkings was broken for a little bit. It wouldn't let you swap off the guys. It was a mess. I couldn't swap my whole entire lineup until like 7:54, I think. And it was just a sweaty mess just trying to get everything in. But fortunately I survived. The cash line, I was the last person in the cash lines last night. So it was, I was way in, and then the Clippers Portland game almost pushed me out. But fortunately I didn't play Kawhi. Not like I was glad I didn't. I didn't have a great game, but they took Kawhi out with 48 seconds left, and if he would have done anything else whatsoever, I would have got knocked out of cash. So fortunately I survived that. Hope you guys did as well. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Hope you guys have a great slate tonight. Hopefully you guys win some money, and I'll see you guys in the next video.